So many times we talk and complain about the customers that don't tip. What about the ones that do? Mr. Bet on you, Pedro, DoorDash Driver, back at you with the RideShare Guy. In today's video, we're going to talk some positivity. We're going to share a positive story about a good consumer, what a driver did when they got an awesome tip, versus hearing about all the stories about no tip, no trip, these miserable customers, these customers do this, I hate these customers. Let's share a positive story. If you want that kind of information, keep watching the video. Now, I am the first to talk about somebody that doesn't tip. I do it on my channel, I've done it here. I don't quite understand the psychology behind why somebody wouldn't not leave a tip when they know they probably should, but that's for another video. Baffled DoorDash driver leaves note for customer after their tip made him cry. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this story. We're gonna show a couple screenshots of the note that was left and what happened that started that, and why I think more of these type of stories, in my opinion, need to happen. And I'll show you why in this particular story. Because consumers right now, and DoorDash drivers, Uber drivers, Instacart, whatever app you use, right? And even wait staff, if you're a server or a bartender, we're battling these consumers. And consumers right now are so, they're tired of these fees and the delivery fees and all these things. Now I got a tip, and I get it as a consumer. I do the same. I look at the receipt and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money for this cheeseburger, right? But you still leave a tip because to me it's the right thing to do. But right now consumers are battling us. And in some cases we're winning, in a lot of cases we're losing. With the media, we lose because we look a certain way when we complain or this or that. And it's causing a big percentage of consumers to say, I'm just not gonna leave a tip. I'm still gonna get my food, I'm just not gonna do it, right? But when consumers see stories like this, I think it lets them have a better understanding it humanizes us in a way. And I think it's a good thing. So that's why I wanted to share this with you guys today. All right, so let's read a little bit of this together. Working in the gig economy and food service is not for the faint of heart. Just ask anyone who's done it. This is absolutely true. And workers' reliance on tips to make a living only makes these jobs harder, especially as rising inflation rates and pay cuts by gig companies cut into workers' base wages. Meanwhile, social media is full of tales from waiters, bartenders, and delivery drivers for apps like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub who have been sifted by customers who refuse to tip. We've seen it. I just mentioned it. We've seen thousands of TikToks, thousands of YouTubes, Reddit posts, Facebook, all over the place. So it's no surprise that when one driver for DoorDash got a $100 tip on Christmas Eve, they were downright shocked. So much that they sent a letter to the customer. Listen, let us know in the comments if you ever got a $100 tip. I've gotten a $100 tip twice. It makes, that's extremely excessive. Even if it's like a large order, $100 tip is a $100 tip. That's a really, really, really good tip, right? So let us know in the comments what's the biggest tip you've ever gotten. The customer, Vivica, posted the heartfelt letter she received from the DoorDash driver to the subreddit, and it's pulling on many Redditors' heartstrings. The driver said they were so baffled by Vivica's generous tip, they cried the entire way home. Okay. The driver wrote that they had just begun driving for DoorDash following a job loss, which a lot of us come to these apps following a loss or some kind of transition in life, right? In a testament to how hard things can get after losing a job, the driver decided to work on Christmas Eve in order to pay for a tank of gas. I think a lot of us can relate to that. I think a lot of DoorDash drivers work the app for that particular reason, right? Vivica's was their last order of the night, and her generosity, a $100 tip on an order that only totaled $60, left the Dasher baffled and exceedingly grateful. As much quoted, 2018 Federal Reserve study reveals some 40% of Americans are so strapped they'd be unable to afford a $400 surprise expense. It used to be $800. Most of us couldn't afford an $800 like car bill or something like that. Now it's down to $400, right? For all too many people, $100 really can make all the difference. And accordingly, the DoorDash driver was blown away by Vivica's kindness. They wrote, I must admit, I cried the entire way home and held my three children very close that night. That $100 tip, think about it. She's trying to go out there to get gas. So now she's got a full tank of gas, I'm sure. And maybe dinner for her kids, maybe a couple additional Christmas presents under the tree. That generosity, man, it can make somebody want to do something nice for somebody else. It's kind of like that pay it forward kind of deal, right? It restores the faith in humanity, some would say, right? They wrote that they told their kids about Vivica and her generosity and explained the importance of gratitude and appreciation for others' kindness, which for me, which is why when I am ordering takeout or doing something or getting an Uber and they're taking me somewhere and they're taking good care of me, I'm going to tip them because I'm showing them gratitude and I appreciate what they're doing, right? We're so very grateful for you and your kindness. They went on to write, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I think the best thing about this is not the $100 tip, but the chain reaction. So I'm going to read this part to you guys real quick. Many commenters were deeply moved by the letter and inspired them to be more generous in their own lives, right? And that could be with tipping or other things. This is the kind of stuff that feeds my soul. One user wrote, we can all be each other's angels if we want. Doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. Now, $100 bill, that's a lot, right? But it doesn't take much. Even if it's a $5 bill, what you can afford, right, can show a lot of gratitude, right? One user who'd grown up without much money empathized with the DoorDasher, writing that the letter made my eyes well up because I grew up watching my parents trying to make ends meet. A lot of DoorDash drivers are trying to make ends meet. A lot of us in the gig economy, servers, waitresses, making ends meet, right? Another said Vivica's gesture inspired them to do the same. The next time I have some extra money to spare, I'm absolutely pulling this move. Let's see. Others responded with calls for the restaurant and gig economy workers to be paid more fairly and treated with more respect. I definitely think that we see a lot of opinions saying, don't be mad at the consumer, be mad at the company. I totally get it. And you're not wrong. My rebuttal to that and my response always to that is, well, if the company had to pay, let's just say they had to pay us, $10 a delivery as a number, right? That cost is still going to go to the consumer. So instead of the delivery fee being free in some cases, or 99 cents, or sometimes the delivery fee is up to like $6, $7, $8, $9, $10. It'll just be more. So instead of it being free, it'll be $5. And then that $5, or some of that $5, or the $5 will go to the driver. Or instead of it being $10 delivery fee, it'll be $15. So the customer's always going to pay. So I don't really understand that. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But I get it. So for me, I think that tipping in this day and age is a hot button issue. We've made videos on this channel. I've made countless videos on my channel. The million other YouTube channels have made videos about tipping. Consumers, customers, people that order the gig economy, they've responded with videos about tipping. At the end of the day, this person said, it's Christmas Eve. I'm going to do something nice for somebody. This is very rare. We don't see $100 tips often. It is the holiday season, so I don't want us to get excited thinking $100 bills are falling from the sky. But what I want us to try to remember is we as drivers have to give good service. And when we get a good tip like that, in the app, thank them. Let them know, thank you for leaving a tip today. Your gratuity is appreciated. Us drivers appreciate that. We have to do things like that to inspire and let the consumer know that we do appreciate them. Because if the consumer is only hearing about us complaining, they're just gonna be like, you know what? I'm good. I'm just gonna not tip, or I'm gonna tip less. So what does this video mean to you guys? What do you guys think? This is one story. There's many more positive stories out there. I'd like to try to bring more of these to light because the negativity sells, the negativity's fun, it's entertainment, but we keep going at each other, consumer, driver. Is there a way we can kind of be a little more positive in times that seem kind of negative? If you guys want more DoorDash content, check out this next video right here, and I'll see you next week.